Hello and welcome to the DC Stewart Show podcast featuring my co-host Isaiah. I'm Derek Stewart, your host. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night. We're wrapping up some of the sporting events from the weekend, and we wanted to go over a few things, do some takeaways on these few conference championship games today, determining which teams are going to go to the Super Bowl. And it looks like we have two Super Bowl contenders and a rematch of the
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. But before we get into the games, I want to say subscribe,
Mhm.
subscribe, subscribe, and hit that like button because we're here for you. We're always going to be here for you. And we see some of the positive feedback that we're getting now. So thank you once again. Isaiah, let me tell you something before we start this show. I had me some canned collard greens tonight. I had me some brown rice, and I had some baked chicken and some water. What do you think about that?
Well, the baked chicken sounds good. The water sounds good. That canned stuff that been sitting on the shelf for a year and a half, and then you don't know how to cook any old way. So, man, I hurry up and get the show because I know you need to go to the restaurant
Listen, how do you know how long that can has been sitting on the shelf? Tell me.
because it's got an expiration date on there. Most of the time, when you show a can, it's a year old, past due, and you try it anyway. So I gotta keep you lifted up in prayer, man.
I know what you mean.
I don't know when
All
you gonna check
together.
out here. I do
For
not know when
sure.
you gonna check out of here, man. Eating that canned
Exactly.
food stuff on that shelf. All you have to do is go down to the produce place and get you some fresh vegetables and fruit and get you some sweet potatoes and cut them up, put them in a boiling pot, let them get soft, or either put them in the oven, let them bake in there. And then just enjoy some of the best you can get when you cook it yourself. You put that stuff in your stomach from being on that shelf all those years, and then you always complaining you got bags under your eyes and all.
Oh, I still have bags under my eyes, so that's nothing new about that.
It's only the side effect from eating something bad, man.
But let me tell you,
This is
food,
what the
what you
bitter
eat
look.
don't seem to have anything to do with bags under your eyes, by
Yes,
the way.
it does. It makes you
Till I
look
correct
older.
you on that.
Hey man, I'm gonna contribute all of your downfall to your eating. So when I'm eating you, I'm gonna blame it on something that you done ate off the shelf for a year.
I know what you mean. So how did your day go so far?
Oh man, I hung out with a bunch of my friends and colleagues. We had a misfortune. One of the buddies of mine passed away, so we hung
Sorry
out
to hear.
over to his house with his wife and a bunch of friends and family members of his, and we enjoyed that moment just to think about how he enjoyed sports, football in particular, and he was a huge mentor for hundreds of kids. This week they're gonna have his funeral. Man, he was a magnificent guy. He's always was upbeat and uplifted and doing things for kids and for families and just to guide little young minds into the right direction. So we're gonna miss him. Art. His name was Arthur, man, and man, what a huge, loss what we have in our
And
police
boy, did
department.
he
They
left
Miami Beach.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Well, we send our warmest condolences from the Los Angeles, because if he's a friend of yours and an associate of yours, he's a friend of ours. We
Of
want to
course.
send our warmest condolences and thoughts to his family, thoughts and prayers as well. So let's get this ball rolling. Let's kick this thing off and start with the first NFL conference championship game today. Looks like it, was a very good game to start, which was Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. One thing I want to say about the Commanders, they have exceeded expectation this year, so they don't have anything to hold their heads down about. They should hold their heads up because for them to be in this conference championship game, it's really impressive based on, their play and their play, especially at the end of the year into the beginning of the playoffs with Jaden Daniels at quarterback, man, the sky is the limit for that team moving forward. They just matched up against a team today, which is the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Philadelphia Eagles look very similar to the Philadelphia Eagles team of about 3 to 4 years ago. And the defense is solid as a rock, but now guess what? They have themselves a running back. So it's a dynamic game changer. to have Saquon Barkley on that offense for Philadelphia because the Eagles have really so many weapons. They have A.J. Brown, they have Devontae Smith, they have several Dallas Goedert playing tight end. They have several weapons that Jalen Hurts can go to
Oh
whenever he
man,
needs
yeah.
it. And Jalen Hurts has the legs to do it. I mean, he has the legs to be able to get out of the way, although he has some nagging injuries, and they talked about a little bit about that today. But this is the matchup that I kind of wanted to see. Is as much respect as I have for Buffalo. Sean McDermott, look, man, this guy is an excellent coach by far. I mean, he's done a fantastic job in Buffalo. Things just have not went their way, especially when they get to the playoffs, to the conference championship. It seems like Kansas City is always in their way. So let me just say this Philadelphia game and Kansas City game, to me, is a game of ages of Super Bowl 59. And it's going to be a good Super Bowl. You got Kendrick Lamar. He's performing at halftime. So you couldn't ask or script a better Super Bowl to have Patrick Mahomes, faced off against Jalen Hurts. And, it's just going to be real cool the way things are going to play out. So Saquon Barkley was absolutely a dynamic steal for Philadelphia. And what I mean by steal in a good way, he
Hmm.
has to be by far one of the best trades I've seen. I can't remember a trade where a guy goes from a team that's in the basement, which was the New York Giants, and they didn't want to pay the man his bag. If the Giants would have gave him his bag, Philadelphia still would not have Saquon Barkley. They wouldn't have him as that dynamic runner, to be able to break the first play of the game. I mean, the guy broke through two tackles and ran it in for a touchdown. I mean, he is phenomenal. So give me some of your takeaways of this game that you picked up the first few quarters, and then we'll talk about third and fourth quarters thereafter.
Well, I just want to commend and piggyback Philadelphia for picking up him. And we've been talking about this for months now.
Mhm.
Now, for them to pick up Barkley, in a trade like this, it goes to show you how important a GM is. He needed
Exactly.
a piece for his puzzle, and he went and picked this Barkley up. And Barkley, man, you just gotta respect his game, man. He just quietly do his thing. He's not
Exactly.
making a whole lot of noise. This guy running 200 yards a game, man, and he really is supposed to have the record right now, but that's another conversation. They played with him on that, but the guy just plays the game well. He does everything well. You can tell he's not selfish because so many of the plays they took him out. They put his, the backup running back in, the backup running it back came in and gave him a breather. And
Mhm.
just to see the cohesiveness of this team and the way
Mhm.
they play together, it made it seem just like Washington had no business being that deep in the playoffs the way they beat them today. You know,
Exactly.
it was just like a slaughter. I mean, the last part, as the game went, they just was building and building and building. And Washington has nothing for them. He couldn't stop them on each side of the ball, man. So, man, I enjoyed this game. I thought that Washington, I was kind of pulling for Washington because they had such a beautiful season. In the quarterback, Jalen Daniels over there did such a superb job bringing them that far. He's the young 24-year-old quarterback. He should be able to get there again, as his career, go forward. But man, it was a great game. It's a great game
Mhm.
to watch. And for sports fans, if you did not see this game, it just shows you how the Super Bowl going to pan out. Philadelphia put it on, put it on. It showed them that, man, we finna go kick down this door and get in there and get revenge on KC. So we're gonna see this, in a couple of weeks, and I want to see if they can get their revenge, man, because KC, it looks rocky. It looked pretty shaky against Buffalo today, but they pulled it out. It shows you the eye of the tiger. It shows you why they're champions because they said, we on the rope, but we're not going down. And they pulled that thing off and kicked the field goal and held Buffalo at bay and ultimately won that game. But, bro, it showed you coaching makes a difference.
Yeah.
It showed you having a good quarterback makes a difference, man.
Yeah.
And all of those things came in play today. So, man, I'm just eager to watch the Super Bowl now. Well, it's
Yeah, it's a really
revenge.
exciting upcoming Super Bowl.
Yes.
Saquon Barkley today, he had 15 carries for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns running. That speaks
Yes.
volumes. And look,
It
this
does.
is Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman is the GM
It, yeah.
for the Eagles. And Howie Roseman, he's been doing a fantastic job for the last 10 years that I've known him to be at Philadelphia, even back to the time, when even Andy Reid was there. Howie Roseman was in that organization, and he's done a phenomenal job to bring in the right type of players. And then, Howie Roseman jumped at the opportunity to bring in Saquon Barkley. Look, if New York don't want to pay Saquon, look, we'll pay you. We'll give you your bag. And look, the Giants are sitting at home. They're going to be watching the Super Bowl just like you and I. And
Uh-huh.
Saquon Barkley is going to be playing in his first Super Bowl with the potential to win his first Super Bowl, because I have to second what you just said. Philadelphia has a really high probability and a good chance to win this upcoming game this time,
Yep.
because last time they had 2 good running backs. They had Kid Gainwell in the backup running back today. I believe it was Gainwell is still with Philadelphia right now, and he was the reserve back when Saquon's calf was kind of giving him some issues. And one thing I can say about Philadelphia, that 1-2 punch of having a guy like Saquon Barkley in there as opposed to any other just average running back.
Yep.
He's in a class all by himself. You got elite running backs and you have average running backs.
Yep.
You have an average running back that can gain you the yards you need, but he doesn't have that breakaway speed and power that any play, any down, he could break it and take it to the house. So Kansas City's going to have to play better football than they did today. And we'll talk a little bit about their game, because I did see some cracks, especially from their offense. Your defense saved them tonight. I'm going to just be perfectly frank with you. Kansas City's defense with Spags, which is Kansas City's defensive coordinator, which I suspect Spags is going to actually be the person to, succeed Andy Reid if Andy Reid decides to, put down his clipboard after this year. I think Spags is going to be the person that Clark Hunt's going to stick in there. But we'll talk about that game. But getting back to the Eagles, that freaking defensive line that the Eagles have, just a year. What a difference a year makes, because a year or so ago, Philadelphia couldn't stop anybody. They couldn't get any penetration. They couldn't stop the run. Their defensive back couldn't shut down the pass. And it's just like night and day, because Vic Fangio is in there now. So Vic Fangio, he was the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins. Fangio has probably been around the league for 40 years. I just count 40 years for sure, because Fangio was on Jim Mora's staff when Jim Mora was at the Indianapolis Colts back in the day, and Jim Mora actually was let go by the Indianapolis Colts because he wouldn't fire Vic Fangio, because he was very committed and very loyal to Vic Fangio. So Vic Fangio has done a fantastic job with that Eagles defense. Your linebackers are quick. Your defensive backs get to the ball really fast. And it proved today that Washington just didn't have what it took. I mean, it makes me think the same thing you were thinking, that, look, how did they get this far into the playoffs when Philadelphia pretty much dominated the game from the very onset of the game, with the exception maybe of the first drive?
Yeah.
Philadelphia took that game over, and beyond that, they were always in control, and they never really got behind. So if you look at the matchup, A.J. Brown, big physical receiver. I mean, A.J. Brown is the type of guy you throw it to, and he's got the size because, he's like DK Metcalf. Those guys went to Mississippi. Those guys are from University of Mississippi. They played together on that Mississippi team, and they big and physical receivers, man. When they catch it, if you let
Yeah.
him turn, if he turn up and go to running, you gonna get, it's a steam truck coming. You're gonna get steamrolled if you don't tackle him properly, because that's just how good he is. And then you have Devonta Smith, which is from Alabama. He played for Saban. Undersized receiver. He looks very tiny on the field. He doesn't look like he has a lot of weight on him, but this guy is a possession receiver. He can catch it and he can run with it. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jalen Hurts is always dangerous back there. If you give him any lane to run in, and all of those defenders, depending on what type of defense they play, he's going to run it. And that's just 3 weapons. So you got Jalen Hurts, you got Saquon Barkley, You got A.J. Brown, and then you have Devontae Smith, but I'm not going to leave out Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and he has proven that over the years, especially when it comes to blocking, because I pay a lot of attention to blocking. Dallas Goedert is an excellent blocker, and when they get that tush push for those first downs, if they need 1 yard, if they need that 1 yard to get into the end zone, it's over. You They have a 99.9% ratio of getting a yard or two out of a tush push, which is a very rugby style alignment. They all circle around the person, mainly the quarterback, and then they just get behind him and shove him right on in. So I'm going to make my prediction. I won't make it now, but I'm going to tell you who I think will actually become the Super Bowl champion of this year, and we'll go from there. Because one thing I will say is you can never count out Patrick Mahomes. Count that man out. As long as he on the field, and as long as he has the ability to make plays, I would never count him out. So Philadelphia has to bring their A game as well. So tell me, do you think that Philadelphia's defense could shut down Kansas City? You're shaking your head. What's
I'm
the matter?
saying no, no, and I'm telling you, no. The thing is, it's just what you said. Mahomes' IQ is out of the stratosphere, man.
Oh
The
my goodness.
dude is super intelligent when it comes to this ball game, man. I watched this guy, man, in the thick of it. When you think that, oh, man, these guys gonna lose, man, you just start
Right.
saying, oh man, that's the end of them. Their season is done. Bro, this dude will scramble back, buy himself some time, throw the ball underhand, wait till his guys'
Get
patterns
open.
develop, throw it over this way, throw it over the way, or either tuck it and run.
Mm,
Put it out of bounds. Or if time is of the essence, guess what he'll do? He'll keep on running, and he's smart enough to slide in bounds where the clock can keep running.
mhm.
Man, it's going to be tough to beat this dude, man. I don't think he's going to really start getting beat till he get old
I don't
and his
either.
ability go away
The
because
next
he's
few
so
years, I don't
darn
see it.
smart. He's
Exactly.
just so smart, man, and he know how to utilize all the weapons that he has. He know how to use his tight ends. He know how to throw the deep pass. He know how to make sure everybody's in their proper spot before he get rid of the ball. And
Mhm.
then when you get him in trouble, he knocks the ball out of bounds. I don't ever see him get charged with intentional grounding because he always know where he's at, so he
Exactly.
won't get a penalty called on him. See, that type of quarterback, man, it's going to be tough to beat. Them guys going to have an airtight defense mechanism to stop this guy, man. Otherwise, they'll have a three in a row championship, and because that's
3P.
exactly what I think is getting ready to happen. I mean, Philadelphia looked great today. I can't take anything away from them, man. They made the Redskins look like, they had absolutely no business being in the playoffs the way they
Not the
gave them
Redskins, the
this.
Commanders.
I call them the Redskins and the Commanders. So the Redskins, Commanders, Washington, all of that. Same
Okay.
thing. But anyway, they got to beat. It's just like when you were back in the day when the principal tell you to put your hands on that table, and when they can get this gun out and slant your rear end. That's
I
what
can
they
relate
got
with
there.
that.
That's
I
what
was
they
in the
got.
principal's office every day, so I could relate
That's what
with
they
that.
got. That's what they got, man. It's just the game was in slow motion for the Commanders, man. He just couldn't
They
put
made too
everything
many
together.
mistakes. They made too
Yeah.
many mistakes today too. That's
Yeah,
that's one thing that I noticed.
yeah, and some of it wasn't just the players, it was the coaching too, because they had 4th and 12 with
Uh-huh.
6 minutes to go. The defense was playing halfway decent, and
Mhm.
they been going for it and did not get it. And Philly went and scored on them, the ball back, then got an interception and scored on the game. It was out of reach then. It was just out of reach. That's why the score looks so lopsided now, because they should have kicked that ball back to Philly and just let the defense play again and perhaps stop them and got the ball back. The mere fact that they were in their own territory and went for 4th and 12 and didn't get it, it allowed Philly to get more points on the board, and that made it out of reach. They couldn't, time was of the essence then, and they just made them look bad. It made the scoreboard look so bad, and it looked like they just got a, massive beating.
Right.
So anyway, they got a great team. They got a young team. They got everything in place. It's just a matter of them continue to try to keep everybody together. And they'll be back in the thick of things because they got
Oh,
a
for
good
sure.
young quarterback. He's only 24 years old. They together a great puzzle. I think just a matter of them minimizing mistakes. They will be there again. I mean, they will
Mhm,
be contending again if they just polish up those little and then and that all that stuff that you know under that launch for them is something that can be fixed.
mhm,
That can be very, they can fix that. And they can fix it in one season. They can fix that over the summer months. They just got to air out some of the freaking cleats that where they had their head in the game. They jumped offside quite a few times. They did a
mhm.
little holding here and there. It's just stuff like that, man. If they just be a little bit more disciplined, they'll be okay. I think they're gonna be right in the thick of things again next year.
Oh, I
Yeah.
do too because that NFC East, I just think personally in the NFC East, you're talking about 2 teams that's gonna be contenders pretty much year in, year out. That's gonna be Philadelphia, and that's gonna be the Washington Commanders. Because I don't see Dallas making any movement forward. I just don't see it. That's a conversation we'll have at a later time, maybe
Yeah.
even tonight. We'll discuss that a little bit, but I don't see any other teams contending in the NFC East other than Philadelphia and the Commanders because the Commanders are only
Yeah.
going to get better with
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, and they're going to
Without
put
a doubt.
better players around them. They have a few holes to fill on defense, I think. Their defense is not as it's a good defense, but it's not a defense. It's not like Philadelphia's defense. They're so dominant. Philadelphia is so dominant until, they're in a class all by themselves as well. But what I want to say is the Commanders have been overly impressive. And I have to say that even with the coaching you mentioned today, I still think they have done a good job with Dan Quinn and Cliff
Mhm.
Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive coordinator. Man, that dude has done a hell of a job this year. I don't care what nobody say. I hear a lot of ESPN analysts talking negative about Cliff Kingsbury. Look, Cliff Kingsbury has made his rounds. He was Arizona's coach. He wasn't as successful at the pro level as he would himself want to be. But I can just say that when he came in and started working with Jaden Daniels, it was a wrap. And I mean, he had the right quarterback that he could groom and build into the type of prototype quarterback that he expected as well as the league expects, having the likes of Patrick Mahomes and having the likes of Hurts and those type of quarterbacks. And last but not least, I'm going to just say it's over for immobile quarterbacks in the NFL. I
Oh
mean, if
yeah.
you're an
Yeah.
immobile quarterback in the NFL, you might as
Don't have
well
a
change
shot.
position. Go and
Yeah.
play wide receiver, go and beef yourself up, play tight end, because if you can't move out of the way of that rush, guess what? You
Yeah.
either gonna be on your back half the game, you're gonna be out with injuries, you're gonna have
Yeah.
all type of problems if you're an immobile quarterback. If you don't have an athletic quarterback that can move and be
Well,
able to
those
escape the rush, it's just not gonna be successful.
kind of quarterbacks just going to get cut, man. If you can't move, you just won't make it. You really won't make it. If you just a pocket guy, you
Exactly.
just ain't gonna make it because what you'll do is you'll be at play and you'll
Correct.
just be okay.
Exactly.
If you
Right.
can't run and get out of the way, you might be just a good enough guy where they'll put you in packages where they know you're going to bomb somebody. You're going to just throw a bomb, or you may not even make the team because guess what? If you got two guys on that team that's when you're the only one can throw, guess what? You can miss a job.
I have to agree with you.
You're gonna be out of a job, man. And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a clipping that they have with Bobby Bowden when he played when he was a coach of Florida State, and they played Virginia Tech, and they went against Virginia Tech,
Michael Vick.
and boy, Michael Vick was running and throwing and running and throwing and running, and Bobby Bowden said, "Man, this guy is good," and he said, "Give it 10 years." 10 years, you're going to see these type of quarterbacks all over the place. You know
Yep.
why? Because Michael Vick made such a profound effect on the
Impact.
game.
Yes.
And that's why it's like that, because these guys was watching this kid when he was in college, and he was running like a gazelle, and now they emulated him. All of these guys, and all of them know how to throw, all of them know how to run. And see what's dangerous about it, you don't know what he's getting ready to do. You absolutely don't know what he's getting ready to do. And man, he could play like he's getting ready to hand that ball to the fullback or something. You put that ball like that's it, and then take off to the right. And that's difficult to stop when your linebackers have already done spread it out and started the damn chase a running back that's coming out of the backfield. So that's almost a guaranteed first down if you need 4 or 5 yards. So the game has become a game of quickness. And you can't catch a guy, you're gonna lose. If you're not elusive as a quarterback, you're not starting. So, man, that's what it's come to, man. And if you look at all the colleges around the country, they're looking for that quarterback that's mobile, that can move out of the way, that's smart, that can read a defense, that can take off running when he's in trouble. Because you just don't know how important that is right now. Because you got these shutdown corners that's going to shut your receivers down. And what he's going to do, he's getting ready to take a sack. He's getting ready to take off running. So that's what the game has become. The game has become a quarterback who know how to get out of the way. And if you can't get out of the way, you're going to be sitting on the sideline with an injury. You know, you're going to be sitting up in concussion protocol because somebody came across your noggin while you sitting up there in that pocket waiting on the damn play to develop. So that's what is going on now, man. Yep. That's what
Well,
it is.
the evolution of quarterback play, and this is from my perspective, is when we were children and growing up, all we saw was pocket passers. We saw the Staubachs of the world. We saw the Dante Pastorinis, Dan Pastorinis of the world. We saw a whole bunch of
Marino.
different. Well, Dan Marino was a perfect example of a quarterback that couldn't move and get out of the way. But at that time, it was a time that they designed the offense around protecting quarterbacks like that.
Yeah.
Because the defenders at that time did not have the athletic ability that the defenders now have. And I'm going to just tell you, it's altogether different. It's like night and day. You have these edge rushers now. You have a guy 260 pounds running a 4.6 40 or 4. Some of them even run a 4.5 40. They've been clocked at without equipment on. Exactly. Or 280. Yeah, because you have down linemen, nose tackles, and defensive linemen, defensive tackles that can actually get the ball a lot faster than a tackle could back in 1985 or a defensive tackle could back in 1995. And that was a 10-year difference of a span that athletics and athletic ability only got better every decade, I think. I mean, so you look 85 to the 95, 95 to 2000, 2000 to 2005, 2005 to 10, 2010 to 2015, 2015 to 2020, and now we're staring 2025 right down, the face of it. What I have to say is this. There will be a place for immobile quarterbacks as backup quarterbacks, I think, eventually on these rosters, but they are not going to be the type of quarterbacks that coaches or owners or general managers, those are not going to be the quarterbacks that they look to have get their franchises to the Super Bowl. Like you see these two quarterbacks just going to be playing in 2 weeks. Patrick Mahomes can move and run with it. Jalen Hurts can move and run with it. And they can get out of the way of the rush. Now, getting back to what you said about Patrick Mahomes' IQ, it's a perfect IQ for football. I mean, the guy's literally, they were talking about a 1,600 on the SAT score. Well, he's a 1,600 in terms of IQ in professional football, in the NFL. And all of that has to be credited to Andy Reid, because Andy Reid took this young guy out of Texas Tech and he developed him into the player he is today. Just imagine if Mahomes would have ended up on the Dolphins, or let's just say he would have ended up on any other team. Who knows? He still would have probably been a good quarterback, but would he have been as great as he is today? That's the question, that we will always ask. But getting to the point that he's with Kansas City and they have an opportunity to make history on a three-peat, it's just If he does this, if Kansas City wins this game, he'll go down as one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game
Uh,
from the onset of the
yeah.
NFL. So I'm
Same.
waiting to see. I'm excited.
Yeah, one thing I want to say, even in reference to Patrick Mahomes, when you think about his dad used to be a baseball player,
Yes.
and what he's done with that football is the same thing you would do with a baseball. But, it's just a collective of Andy Reid, superb coaching, and to realize here's a guy who's super talented with this game and
Uh-huh.
know how to conduct an offense. So he took Mahomes' talent and just incorporated with his style of offense and just let Mahomes has his way. Because 95% of Mahomes' balls are just clear instinct, man. It's just instinct. It's clear instinct of how his ability allow him to see this game, man. I mean, he watches the movement of these defenders on defense and he reacts to what they're doing. So
Right.
that stuff right there can't be coached. It's him. Andy can get in the type of setting in offense, but this stuff that has, in these games that's come with the spur of the moment with his instinct is all him, man. I mean, I give Andy, 40% of this credit. The rest of that 60% is Mahomes. Believe
I
it.
agree.
Because if you put him on another team, that IQ, either, he going to get you the points and you might have a sorry defense, and if they don't stop him and they'll continue to trade points. But Mahomes going to get his if he has some good receivers and a halfway decent line, because he just knows how to get rid of the ball and know where to advance the ball. If he need a first, he know exactly how to get it.
True.
If he needs
True.
5 yards, he know how to fake you out and get them 5 yards. If he need to do some clock management, he gonna freaking fake you out, run the ball down the field, and he gonna slide. And then he'll put him else if he need to save some time, man. The guy just is the stud on the football field, man. And it's just so great to be able to watch this level of talent coming out of him, where it's just something where you could talk about probably for the next 20 years, because we're seeing this stuff with our own eyes, man. And we can look back on this stuff, because look at what we said about Marino. We knew Marino had like the best release in all of
Oh, the
football.
quickest I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but guess what? He had probably 100 yards in his whole career with running. He couldn't
Correct.
run.
Right.
He could not run,
He
but
was so immobile that he just stood in the pocket in
yeah,
shotgun,
but
and
he had the
that was
record
enough
in
time
passing
for
though.
him to release the ball.
He
That's what
had the
I
record in passing, but he only had like 100 yards his whole career. Never ran the ball. Never.
exactly.
Yep.
One thing I will say though, let me just digress back a little bit what we were talking about with these two teams that's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. You're looking at coaching. So you can look at Andy Reid going up against Nick Sirianni again, and Nick Sirianni is a pretty good coach. He's a good coach, but will they be able to outwit Andy Reid with a game plan? Going to be my question, because I'm going to just tell you right now, Andy Reid is going to have a game plan ready for
Of
them, and
course
and
he is.
Kansas City has Kareem Hunt back, and man, he run like a Mack truck. Do you see how that dude run? I mean, Kareem Hunt is he's the real deal, man. I mean, this guy, once he touches the ball, I mean, he's short and he's compact, but he's big and he's thick. Kind of like you were when you were playing college football and when you were in high school, big legs, real strong upper body, but your lower body is stronger than your upper body. And it's like, I watched him run over several people tonight, man. I'm talking about Kareem Hunt, because he was let go by Kansas City
Yeah.
because of an off the field incident that he had. And he ended up at Cleveland for multiple years. He missed out on an opportunity to be in a Super Bowl and win one because he was with Kansas City from the onset. They drafted him out of, I believe, University of Akron, and I'll go ahead and fact check that. But he is a dynamic runner. And then you have Isaiah Pacheco, he's this type of runner. He runs just as hard, but he's not as big and thick as
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt. So they have a 1-2 punch, just like Saquon Barkley and just like Ken Gainwell. they're gonna have it's gonna be a really dynamic Super Bowl, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Who's your top 5 runners for quarterbacks, if you can remember any, back from even the
Runner?
time when Michael Vick was running? Give me 5 quarterbacks that you think was in that top 5,
Well,
and I'll give you my 5.
Vic probably was number one at the time,
Okay.
and then what was the guy named Cunningham,
Randall
Michael
Cunningham,
Vick,
of
yeah.
course.
Um, shoot, man,
You can even
those
give
were the
me
top
some
ones.
from now. I mean, this terrible.
Even now, you got to put Jackson in there,
Lamar
from the
Jackson,
Ravens,
okay, that's
Lamar
3.
Jackson,
You got 3 so far. Alright.
and shoot, those were the top. Now,
Well, you can't leave Jaden Daniels out because Jaden
well,
Daniels is a
Jaden
dynamic
Daniels
runner,
is
man.
good too. I'm talking about guys
Yeah,
who just took the ball and break it and go for the whole nine, man. That's
right.
what Vic and Jackson would do for you. They would come down there. You could be on their 5 yard line and they could fool around and fake like they're gonna pitch it to the running back and keep it and go all the way for 90 yards, man.
Right.
Jayden Daniels probably gonna do that later on as he get older and he's get more experience and know how to read a defense. But for right now, I wouldn't compare him totally with the Vic right now because Vic, man, that guy was you just had to keep eye on him constantly. You had to get a guy and say, the quarterback is your
You had to
man because
shadow
if
him. You had to
you
shadow him.
have to shadow that guy because if you don't shadow him, he gonna hurt you. Jalen Hurts to me is one of those types too now because what he'll do, he ran so much in college like that, and it kind of spilled over to professional football because he'll do it to you too. So I'll stick Jalen Hurts in there, and he has the right name. He'll hurt you if you don't pay him no attention. He'll hurt you, man. Because
Absolutely.
he would throw that ball down the field because Nick Saban had him throwing the ball a lot too. So he's a good, accurate passer. But if you don't keep an eye on him, he'll tuck the ball and run on you because, he won them championships at Alabama doing that. Rightfully
He
so,
did.
run them all.
He did. He
Yeah.
did. So the 3 that you named right off the top, I'm right with you with those 3. I can go with those 3, and then I'm gonna actually add Cam Newton in there because Cam Newton is a big guy. I mean, Cam Newton
Yeah.
wasn't a small quarterback, but this
Yeah.
and even when Cam Newton was at Auburn, Cam Newton would tuck it and run people over, get into
Yeah.
the end zone if he needed to
Yeah.
get there. So I had to add Cam Newton in there. So my top would be Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, Cam Newton, and then you have Josh Allen. I'm not going to leave Josh Allen out because Josh Allen, he's just as big as Cam Newton, and he's current. And Josh Allen's the type of quarterback he'll take it in and run with it. See, those type of quarterbacks, they thrive when they play man defense. When the defense is aligned in man coverage, all of the defenders turn their backs and start running away. They run with receivers. So the offensive coach, he calls a play where they just spread the field, and all of the defenders, they turn and run with the receivers, and then the quarterback, he can make a decision whether he want to throw it or run it. They call those RPO, run pass options. And if that's the case, and you got a quarterback the size of Josh Allen, because he had some big runs tonight, and he's hard to bring down, man. He is not an easy person to tackle. Because if you look at a lot of the linebackers in the league now, a lot of the linebackers are the size of monsters. You remember we used to call that position the monster position?
Yeah.
The monster position is like a hybrid of a safety and a linebacker
Yeah.
put together. So
Yeah.
you got a guy they may place back there at 230. Let's just say 230 or even up to 240. And then you have a quarterback like Josh Allen weighing 240. So you think about that. Some of the linebackers even have, problems. Even defensive linemen, I've seen him shake off and just keep running. So I'm gonna just say that, these dynamic quarterbacks, this is the NFL of the future. I'm not saying there's not a place for immobile quarterbacks because I think they will always reserve a position on the team for quarterback
Yeah. I beg
to
to
be
differ on
there.
that.
But what I will say is because they have to have a quarterback that's a backup quarterback, and everybody can't be mobile. So they have to have
Well, let me
somebody
tell you right
that's
now.
backup.
If we all keep living, the NFL gonna be full of these type of quarterbacks, man.
I agree.
And I'm talking about not just starting. I'm saying starting and backup. So I'm telling you right now, if you cannot run, you won't have a job, man. I'm telling you this because the stakes are too high. It's too high because what we're seeing is a defense as fast. You know, if you start, okay, if somebody start,
Okay.
if they start a DB, and you can be in the shotgun. If you don't have a dun like this to throw the ball to, you gotta take off running. If that DB is starting from the left side and you read it and you can't
Mhm.
run this way,
It's
you
over.
ain't gonna have no job, man. I'm telling you, because your starting quarterback gonna be mobile and your second string quarterback is gonna be mobile because everybody is emulating Jackson and
Lamar
Daniels.
Jackson and
Right.
Daniels
And
and Josh
Mahomes.
Allen and those
These
guys.
young kids who's watching football right now are emulating those guys. They're not emulating Marino. They're not emulating the guys who just sitting back there. They're not even emulating what's the two brothers' name? The dad from Louisiana, the two
You're talking
Manning
about
brothers,
Peyton
the
Manning and
Mannings, man,
Archie
the Mannings.
Manning
Yeah,
and
those guys.
Eli Manning. Yeah.
Nobody's emulating the Mannings, man. Nobody. They were
Well,
good throwers. Who? Tell me. Their
Imma
nephew,
just say this,
Jackson.
their nephew, Arch over at Texas, that boy can run.
Okay.
He looks just like Archie Manning when he
Okay.
runs. Same
Okay.
running style, same slash and
He's
run, cut and run. Arch Manning to me, looks just like his grandfather when Archie Manning was at Mississippi, playing at
can
Mississippi.
he
I've
run?
seen who?
Can he run? Arch Manning.
Arch Manning can run. Arch
That's my
Manning is a
point.
really good runner. You'll
That's my
see him
point.
next year because
That
Quinn Ewers is declared for the
is my
draft, so
point.
Arch Manning will be starting.
That's my point. His uncle couldn't run.
Well, that's true. I mean, Peyton and Eli couldn't run. That's
Right.
true.
That's my point.
Right.
He's got to run. And that's why I say he's not emulating his uncles. He's got to run. And if he can't run, he won't have no job, man.
He's emulating his grandfather, so he'll have a job. Arch Manning will.
Well, he not his uncle. That's what I'm saying. That my point is the fact that if he can't run, he won't have no job. He might finish his collegiate level of play, and then when he hit the NFL, just start commentating like his uncles. But if he can run, he'll get a job because he's already can throw. You know he can throw. But if he can't get out of the way of that pursuit, he ain't gonna have no job. And this is what it's come to. It's speed, rapid speed. People throwing that ball down the field and they able to run when the arms come their way. So you can't get out of the way, you'll be talking about it like us. That's what they'll be doing.
So
We'll interview you on the podcast.
exactly. So here's some of the takeaway, and then we'll move on to another topic because, we want to get a lot of other topics in tonight. Buffalo they could have won the game tonight. Several things just didn't go right for the Bills tonight. And it always seems to be that way when they play Kansas City. The biggest thing is Kansas City offense stalled on them. Mahomes had 2 fumbles. I mean, they couldn't run on Buffalo at one point. I was telling you, and I actually told you on the phone when we spoke earlier that I think Buffalo was going to beat these guys tonight because they were dragging.
Yeah.
Mahomes in the offense was dragging early
You
on,
seen the
but you never
response
can
though,
count
right?
him out, of course. But they
Yeah,
were
but
dragging,
yeah.
and then they defense, Chris Jones and that defense, them boys stepped up to the plate and said, "Man, we just gonna hold Buffalo and not let them score." That's what that was
I
about.
wasn't even worried about that crap you was talking, man. Because I sent you a text right back when I said, man, you
saw
must be
your
crazy.
text. I saw
Yeah. I said, man, you crazy, man.
Yeah. But I'm just telling you what I saw with the offense sputtering, with Kansas City's offense not moving the ball as consistent as they're known to be when it come to moving the ball. And to me, Buffalo was the type of team, all they had to do was hang around and keep it within 7 points, and then it could go either way when it comes down to it. Because if Dalton Kincaid, which was their tight end, if he would have caught that first down, with Josh Allen lobbed up that ball because he was in trouble with the rush, and he lobbed up that ball, and Kincaid couldn't come down with that ball. If Kincaid would have came down with that ball, me and you might be having a different conversation right now. Wouldn't you think so? Do you agree?
Yeah, but you said if, but this is
Well, I'm
what's
just
good
telling you.
about KC. This is what's good about KC, man. If you can't just flat out just beat them, you're gonna be in trouble because the thing is they minimize their mistakes. So then when you
Absolutely.
fool around and start making a mistake, they're gonna capitalize off of that thing and they're gonna beat you. So that's the reason why they're going to the Super Bowl again, because what they do is they do things so good. And if you can't just beat them head up, smash mouth football, you're not
Mhm.
gonna win because they don't make no whole lot of mistakes, man. They know their capability, they know their limitations, they play the best game. They don't get rattled when they're behind. None of that. And
Mhm.
ultimately, they came back and won this game. And you were over there thinking, I said, okay, I should have betted you. I should have sent you something and betted you. Make you spend some money, man, or either send me some of them Omaha steaks at my front door. Yeah, they were good. So I should have
Well,
sent you, bet you again.
I have an honorable mention here on Buffalo's offense. James Cook, the brother of Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
Dalvin Cook played at FSU, Florida
yeah,
State. He's a
yep. I
Miami
mean,
kid.
yeah,
Both of them are Miami kids. James
yeah,
Cook was
sure.
running that rock tonight, boy. I
Yeah,
mean, James
yeah.
Cook wasn't no joke. He had 85 rushing yards on 13 attempts, and Kansas City couldn't shut down the run. They
Hey,
couldn't
let me
stop.
ask you something. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Important, very important. Who won?
Well, Kansas City won the game.
Who won?
That's
Oh,
ultimate.
okay.
Kansas City won the
Okay.
game tonight.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
I'm just giving you an honorable mention to tell you the type of players that Buffalo had tonight. Look, I'm just as ecstatic that Kansas City is going to be playing Philly again because this going to be a game that the team that make the least amount of mistakes going to win the Super Bowl. That's just give or
Nobody ain't
take
gonna
either
ever
way.
worry about how many yards that runner made. The Cook brothers.
Well, the
Nobody ain't gonna
Cook
worry
brothers,
about that.
James Cook.
Yeah, let
That's
me
right.
tell you this. They're gonna be looking at who was in this Super Bowl and who was the victors. And the victor that's gonna be KC. I think KC gonna win another one, man.
Hey,
I'm
you know
telling you.
what? I'll tell you at the end of the show who I think is going to win. I'm not going to give it away right now. But let me move on
Huh.
to this. Man, did you hear Tom Brady calling this game today, man?
No.
Tom Brady is sharp as a tack, bro. When Tom Brady started calling this game today, this
Uh-huh.
was the first game I actually heard him call the entire game. Tom
Okay.
Brady is polished. Tom
Yeah.
Brady is very knowledgeable because he played in the league forever. I
Yeah.
mean, all of those years, all of those Super Bowls, so he could tell you and break down each play. But I was so impressed with Tom Brady's ability to be able to call certain, levels of the game, in a sense, certain sequences of the game. I was really impressed with Tom Brady. As you know, Tony Romo has been in calling games forever, and I
Yeah.
was never that impressed with Tony
Hell,
Romo
man.
before.
I
You
don't
know,
know why they give the
I
Romo
don't
all
know
that money,
either,
man.
but I can tell you Tom Brady has a bright future as an announcer, and they did the right thing. I'm glad they gave him his bag to
Oh
be able to
man, they
go up
hooked
into
him
this
up.
booth because he's going a long way. He's going a long distance with this thing as an announcer. Brady is sharp. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, good for him, man. Because one thing about some of these guys, they get in these positions and they don't do their homework, and it's clearly Brady is doing his homework. Because
Oh,
you can
for
have
sure.
all the knowledge of a player if you want, but when you
Mhm.
start being able to name guys' name, positions and all that, that means you're studying the game too, man. Even when you're not
Exactly.
playing anymore. Because I seen Dan Marino try to do it. He fell on his nose. And many others tried to do
I've
this
seen
stuff,
Ray
man.
Lewis try to do it. I've seen a lot of them try to do it, you
Yeah,
know?
they get out there, and if they don't really the time in and effort to get the nose backward stuff, they don't make it. This is a guy who's sharp on the field,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he loved this game, and he's into it. You got to be into it. You can't just say, okay, I'm gonna show up on a Sunday or Monday or Thursday to commentate these games and not study throughout the week to know what's going on. And it's clearly that Brady is buckled down and he's
Oh, yeah.
into it and he's doing it for the real reasons and for the long haul. So, man, I love it watching him on TV. I didn't think he was going to be able to do it because he was like so stale when he played. And after
Right.
those games, he didn't celebrate like you thought he would. And he didn't give you no whole lot of drawn out interviews after the game. He was just so humble when he won and he would just go in the locker room. He didn't speak that much. So I didn't think he would be so sharp on camera because he looks camera shy sometimes. But man, he's doing a great job now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's definitely he's got a bright future as an announcer or anything else Tom Brady wants to do because Tom Brady is gonna be successful at whatever he does. His TB12 Tom Brady 12, which is TB12 brand is just it's up there. And
yeah,
anything this man touches tends to turn to gold. So I was really happy and I was telling some other people today, I say, listen, Tom Brady has got it going on. And a lot of other announcers who've been in the league, I would place Tom Brady and I don't want to take any credit or, take anything away, but Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, them guys are sharp as a tack
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I would place
Combination
Tom
between
Brady
the two.
right in that category with
Yeah,
Joe Buck and Troy Aikman because
yeah,
Troy
the
Aikman is
good combination of with them two.
Troy Aikman's a natural at it, him and Buck, man. So
Yeah.
those guys got it going on. So, Brady, Tom Brady, we would invite you on this show any day, man. We'd love to have you on this show and kind of try to pick your brain on what several games went down today and the upcoming Super Bowl. So let us know. We're always here. So next topic. Jaden Daniels is a 24-year-old rookie, and it looks as though his mother has initiated and taken initiative to make sure her son is protected
Got the women.
from predators. I'm not gonna call them
Yes,
women.
you
I'm
are
just gonna say
correct.
predators. Predators
She
can be
said it.
men too. So I mean, it
No,
doesn't
she
matter.
said women in particular.
No, well, whatever
She
she
said
said, she
what?
said. I'm just telling you, it's a predatory group out there that they love to come around people that are successful, people who have money, young guys like Jaden Daniels. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's made waves in the NFL. Do you think more mothers for professional athletes should step up to the plate and protect their sons like this?
Well, of course, man.
Give me
That's
a
a part
reason
of being.
why. Give me
That's
a good reason why.
that's natural. It's a part of
Okay.
being a parent. Why would you not tell your kid the right thing to do if you already experienced it? Why? Why would you let your kid walk down that dark path where they're green, they don't know what to expect, and then they get hit across the head by somebody who trying to dig into their bag? Come on, man. You have to, as a parent, you do yourself a disservice if you let somebody take advantage of your child who clearly don't know all the ins and outs of life. They know the game of football, but they don't know how manipulative people can be. And that's what she's spending off, man. She's doing that in such a great way, as in letting these people know to stay away from my kid. Leave him alone. Let him be a man and grow up and meet some young girl that he really like and let them live their life together. Not come over here and try to dig in his bag and take stuff from him and claim you're pregnant or either some dude trying to get him to invest in some old Ponzi scheme or something like that. Listen, this woman need all the accolades that you can find and give her because many people need to be like that. More mothers and fathers need to be just that way. Otherwise, you won't have a kid that has 9 baby mamas. That's how you get that. You fend that stuff off. You know how many football players got multiple kids from multiple different women and got their bags spread all around the United States.
Right.
And then 5 years out of professional sport, they looking around. I used to have, I used to this, I used to that, I used to have that, man, because you didn't have no right. You didn't have no harness on that bag and you just giving it away and you thought it was cute to go out there and get a bunch of babies and now you got to take care of all of them. So, hey, listen, man, I commend his mom, man. And Mel, what a great job you're doing. That's my take on it.
Well, it says here his mother isn't worried about interceptions or injuries. Her focus is women, as you stated, and it's not in a vague protective parent way. She's got specifics. It says here, girls, them girls. Some
Mhm.
girl out there, she's got a Jaden Daniels wall, and her mama says, "Hey, honey, you're going to be the one to get him." Jackson said in The Money Game, Amazon Prime Video docuseries. Jackson did not hold back, adding that I know that sounds crazy, but I guarantee you there's someone who's trying to get their hooks into Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
So thank God he got a mama like me because that ain't happening.
Yeah.
Guess what? That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm very happy that she's doing what she's doing to protect her son because I'm like you. When you go around and you have all of these people and they come around you only for what they can get out of you, whether it's
Mhm.
wealth or whether people today, I've learned over my lifespan, if they're not going to get anything out of anything, they're not going to come around. I mean, that's just natural. Now, it's a few exceptions out there, I would say. They have women out there that will come around, or they have men that will come around because, there's a genuine, interest in getting to know you. But I don't know very many people out here like that, especially in LA. If you don't have the money or the bag, or if you don't have anything that you can offer them, they're not coming around. They're not going to be hanging around you. So then you get with these people, and specifically women, and you have babies with them, all of them are on payroll. And then when you stop playing the game, you got all of these people you're still paying. And some of these are lifetime situations because you have to take care of the kids in most states until at least 18, some states maybe 21, I would think. And then you still have to provide their insurance, health insurance, life
Yeah.
insurance. And just think if you have 6 or 7 kids from 6 or 7 different women,
Yeah.
they're not going to take less when you stop playing and that income is not coming in like it used to when you were playing ball. The Sean Kemps of the world, and I could keep going on and name
Mhm.
all of the people that have been caught up in these situations where they're going back to court, petitioning a judge to lower the payment. Oh, I got a $30,000 a month payment. I don't have that kind of income anymore, Your Honor. Can you lower it down to maybe 10,000 or 5,000, whatever the case may be, depending on what that athlete is earning? They don't think about those things until it's too late. So, I'm really happy Jaden Daniels' mother is like that. I think Lamar Jackson's mother is the same. I mean, she helped him renegotiate this big bag he just got, which was, one of the first times I've known that he served as his own agent and been able to get a bag like that
Dante
without
Culpepper
having an
did it
agent.
too. Dante Culpepper did it too.
And Dante Culpepper
Yeah.
did it,
He didn't
yeah.
have an
So
agent.
so as several of them can pull that off and not have to worry about having to pay out that commission to an agent, and I'm really happy to hear that, and I'm hoping that more athletes can go into these, meetings and go into these contract negotiations and say, "Look, I can represent myself." Floyd Mayweather did it in boxing without all them thugs, promoters, because boxing was rife with
Yeah.
promoters. You couldn't box unless they negotiated your contract.
Yeah.
The Don Kings of the worlds and people
Mhm.
like that, you
Yeah.
know? So, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought you would have some good insight on that in particular, you know? Let's talk a little bit about the coaches, the new hire coaches, then we'll wrap this show up. Pete
Yeah.
Carroll, the Las Vegas Raiders, me and you talked about that, bro. I looked at a video just last week. We both was talking about Pete Carroll would be a good fit for the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe Mark Davis was listening to us. I don't know. But I do know what I do know that he is a good pick. He's going to turn that team around. He's going to definitely have that defense on point. I mean, they had a good defense, even when Antonio Pierce was there. But I could see Carroll, the Legion of Boom type of defense again when he had in Seattle. And they're talking about a possible ability of reuniting him with Russell Wilson, because I don't know if Pittsburgh is going to sign Russell Wilson. What do you think about Russell Wilson going to the Raiders with Pete Carroll?
I think he should go over there because what's happening is Russell need another home because Pittsburgh really want to go ahead and put
Move on.
their I mean they like Russell, but Russell's not their future. They need to let Russell
Justin
go ahead on
Fields is
over.
their future, right?
Yeah, yes, he is. And the
Yeah.
thing is, they want to go ahead and start getting this guy into play where they can build on their future. Why let a good quarterback sit on the bench right there and they know Russell Wilson is not their future? Let Russell go on over there to the Raiders and let him go over there where he's familiar with the coach. They're going to get something else going. Russell what is he, 32, 33 years old now? Still
Let me
got,
check. I can check that real
you
fast.
know, either way it goes, he's still got 5, 6 years left in him. So by him going over there with Pete Carroll, he's got a familiar offense, familiar human being. He coached him before. So I think that will be something good for them. Pete Carroll knows his ability. So, I mean, why not? How old is he?
36. He's
Right. Oh,
36
he is
years old.
36?
He's
Well, he's
36.
got 3 years left in him, and I didn't know he had that many miles on him, but yeah. But that'll be a good start for Pete Carroll to get his feet wet and, get his team off the ground with a quarterback that's already groomed instead of doing it with a young buck. So, yeah,
Correct.
that should be all right.
So Justin Fields in development with Pittsburgh, do you think he's going to be in position to help Pittsburgh get a little bit further into the playoffs next year? Or what's your take on him as a quarterback? Because he's not a rookie. I mean, he's played for
Yeah.
Pittsburgh already. I
And
think George Pickens and all of them really want Justin Fields to be playing. I don't know if they care for Russell Wilson as much. I
Well,
hear
the
different
reason
rumors
the
and stuff.
reason the reason is Russell was in the future, man. All those guys about the same age. They're not too
Right.
far off. You got
Correct.
Russell coming in there. Look at the guy is almost getting ready to retire.
Correct.
Why don't you just throw the quarterback in the fire and let him build and groom and gel with all the other players? Because these guys need to play together if that's going to be their future. And you got a guy who's going to only be there for a spur of the moment. You don't mess up that chemistry like that, man. You get these guys, when you see a team that's great, they played together for numerous years. They know each other's moves, they know each other's habits. When you got a guy you just plugged in for a season and he's gonna be gone, it mess up your chemistry, man. So
Right.
get Russell out of there, let him go somewhere else to rebuild. And Pittsburgh need to put Hills in there and let him build his team. Otherwise, he gonna fool around and they're gonna keep picking at the head coach Tomlin to get him out of there because they're not winning. Oh, they was pissed with him not going further in the playoffs, man. When you got a quarterback that's talented as he is, and you got receivers who look like they was trying to throw the damn game sometimes, because Pickens used to piss me off because he looked like he was trying to drop them damn balls,
I
man.
wouldn't I
And
wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be a
man,
bit surprised if he
Pickens seemed to let balls hit him in the hand and then look like, oh, looking at his hands like he got boo-boo on his hand. You know, looking at his damn hand, man. And then he run back to the funnel and it was like nothing happens to him.
Right.
Dude, people take dropping balls so easy. They just don't care, man. They don't have no pride in nothing, man. And to see these guys wide open like this here, drop it in their hands, and they fumble the ball to the ground.
Mhm.
There's no repercussions. They go right back into the next series and do it again. So I want to see Fields go in there and start, get him in there in the preseason, work the crap out of them, and start their season next year because that's going to be their future. Put him out there, man, and let him do his thing. Because right now, you don't want to wait until Najee get old, Najee Harris and then
Right.
Pickens get old before you boom the quarterback. They should
Najee Harris might end up he's gonna be a free agent soon. I don't even know if he's gonna stay at Pittsburgh because he's gonna be chasing his bag, and I don't even know if Pittsburgh is gonna give him his bag. And it might be in
well,
his best interest to leave anyway to go to a team that can block better.
I think Pittsburgh should build a nice, firm, solid offensive line because what we're talking about is the quarterback Fields anyway. And if you're not going to build a line for Fields, he's going to have to take off running every damn play. And
Mhm.
you won't be able to run any old way. So build you a solid offensive line and keep Najee there, put Fields at quarterback, and Pickens that triple threat right there. They can start winning some games consistently.
Right.
That's what they
Right.
need.
Exactly. Well, I'll just look at it like this. As far as George Pickens and some of those receivers for Pittsburgh, and this has plagued Pittsburgh for years, where they have receivers that if the ball isn't coming to them or the play isn't designed for the ball to come to them, they don't go all out. They don't put in the effort to sell the play. In other words, guys like Pickens, if the ball is not coming to them enough, or if the ball is not coming to them the way they feel it should be coming to them, they put a half-hearted effort in there, and that's kinda
You know
sad
what?
that's
Listen,
tolerated
man.
in Pittsburgh? Because people like that either should be placed on the bench until
You
you
know
do get
what?
better, or you should be gone.
Next year, I'm gonna pay special attention to that, what you just saying, because I picked up on that in spurts last season.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you got guys falling off like that, you know one thing that made Peyton Manning so effective when he played, because everybody went all out every play.
Exactly.
The running back, the
Reggie
running back,
Wayne,
yes,
Marvin Harrison. I mean,
yes,
I could keep naming them. Edgerrin
yes,
James. Those
yes.
guys sold the plays. The
Every
ball
play,
wasn't even
man.
coming to them.
Every play.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
when I played football, man, when I wasn't getting the ball, I would run up in that line hard like I'm getting the ball. I would
Exactly.
run up the freaking lineman back if he not moving the pile. I would do everything like this. Damn, run in there, the ball going somewhere else. But then it's stagnant. The linebacker has to keep you honest. They gotta check you, because some of the moments they're gonna give you the. So if you
Exactly.
run hard every play, he gotta hit you, because they
Right.
got no balancing time. So
Right.
especially when you get a real smooth quarterback, when they first came out with the option play in
Mhm.
the wishbone, man, that thing used to be so pretty. It used to be so pretty. I remember when Oklahoma used to run
Oh, yeah.
the beater and the
J.C.
option.
Watts, Thomas Lott, Billy Sims. I mean, I can go
Dude,
on and on.
it was so pretty. And it used to fool the cameraman all night, man. The cameraman was just flat out fool,
Mhm.
because he didn't know who had the ball. Now they got cameras everywhere. You got so many cameras, somebody gonna pick it up to see where the ball is. But when you have one guy shooting his camera, and he gonna be lost, because that quarterback, especially at Oklahoma where J.C. Watts was there, J.C. Watts, oh, shit. And he would ride that fullback into the line, man. And there's a collision going on. He throws it back, get off the line. And then he had Billy Sims trailing him. Dude, I remember in the Orange Bowl, man, they were playing Florida State.
I remember that game.
Man, Florida State and Oklahoma. And
I remember
Florida
that game.
State was banging Oklahoma up, bruh. J.C. Watts was plugging at it. Damn. They would get stopped. Boom. They would tackling the Billy Sims. One
Yep.
thing, turn around and shake that damn fullback too long. J.C. Watt pulled the ball out, tipped off right on the right, ran all the way down. The DB happened to say, "Oh shoot, here's J.C. Watts." Tried to hit him on his way down. He flicked the ball over to Billy Sims.
Wow.
You hear the crowd going nuts.
Mhm.
And man, the thing was ran so smooth, bro. I don't see anybody doing that now. Now, the game has changed, but I'm saying how sufficient that offense was ran at Oklahoma, I haven't seen that yet. J.C. Watts was about the smoothest quarterback I've ever laid eyes on. And the second one was Turner Gill of
Oh, Turner
Nebraska.
Gill was really good at it. He was so smooth, man. But they didn't
Man,
run a wishbone. Turner Gill,
they
they
ran the
ran like the
veers.
flex of that.
A
Yeah,
veer. They ran the
the
veer.
veer. That's what they ran
Yes.
with Mike Rozier and those guys.
Mhm.
Turner
Yes.
Gill was just so smooth when he would go under
Yes.
center. He'd
Yes.
he'd do a 360. He'd
Mhm.
snap it and
Yeah,
turn
do it.
around all the
Oh,
way
yeah.
around, and Mike Rozier would be trailing him coming around.
Mhm.
And so if the
Yeah.
defender who was shadowing Turner Gill came up, he just pitched it, and that was the
Yeah.
end of it. Because once
It's
they
so
make it to
beautiful,
that
man.
perimeter, it's over, man. If you let a
Yes.
quarterback or a good running back get to that perimeter, it's over. You're not gonna
Yeah.
get them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Oh,
agree with
those
you. That
memorable
wishbone
games,
was
man.
just it was flawed
It was
back then.
pretty, man.
And most defenses have adjusted to that type of play. The last time I saw something close to that was when Miami with Randy Shannon played Georgia Tech
Mhm.
with Josh Nesbitt. You remember
Oh,
Josh
yeah.
Nesbitt,
Josh
played
was
QB for
hurting them
Georgia
too,
Tech?
man.
And
Yeah.
Josh Nesbitt was a very similar Beard type
Yeah.
of quarterback,
Yeah, man.
and they used to have a fullback, and they'd have two guys in back behind
Mhm.
Josh Nesbitt.
Yeah.
And first play of the game against
That
Miami,
step
I
was
would
pretty
never
smooth with it
forget that freaking play. They dove it, and the fullback took it up the middle for a full touchdown on Miami,
too.
man. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it, you know? So, that's
And
something, but anyway,
the fullback actually sells that offense.
yeah,
Because the
absolutely.
fullback has to go in that hole like he's getting the ball every time for it to work. Because if the
Exactly.
fullback don't do that, the whole play is dead from the beginning. The fullback
Correct.
has to hit that hole like he's getting the ball, and he's got to sell that thing, man. Even if it's a pass play. And you know what used to be funny? When the fullback hit the hole like that, quarterback take 2 steps and dump it off, as a screen. Now, that's a pretty play, you know, to see a screen get set up through that fullback. Because what it does is it locks the linebackers in
Correct. It
the
freezes
interior
the
line.
linebackers, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
it freezes them up.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, Georgia Tech had a really good system with that, and then other teams caught on to that, and it didn't work even after that. So last but not least, let's talk a little bit about Jerry Jones with Dallas. I mean, we've talked about Jerry Jones constantly on this podcast, and he hired Brian Schottenheimer, which is Marty
Yeah, so,
Schottenheimer's
yeah.
son.
Uh,
Brian Schottenheimer has been an offensive coordinator on a lot of different teams. I mean,
uh,
I don't know what was going through Jerry's psyche or mindset when he decided to do that. I guess he wants a coach that he could completely, I would
Step
say
on. Yeah,
completely step on and be
yeah.
able to control, because it's all about with Jerry, it's control. It's everything is about controlling the coach. So it looks like Schottenheimer has been a coordinator with the Jets. He was a coordinator with Georgia in 2015. He went back to college. He was the Indianapolis coach, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. He was Seattle's offensive coordinator. He was a Jacksonville Jaguars passing game coordinator. And since 2022, he was a coaching analyst with the Cowboys. And then 23-24, he became the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. So it's I don't know, but I just thought that was a little bit unusual. We had that show telling Prime not to do it, and it ended up working out anyway. So
Well, let me say this, man. If you went that road, Jerry seemed desperate, man. I think he should have just, if he was going to do that, he should have just kept Mike McCarthy.
you should have kept Mike McCarthy. I
Yeah,
agree.
because man, I can't see where he made no strides. I mean, he's not going to thrive. I don't see how he's going to make no improvements
They're
by
not going to make
bringing
any
in
improvement with Brian Schottenheimer.
Schottenheimer.
I don't.
I just don't understand that
I
move,
would be
man.
shocked. I,
You
I don't
know,
see any improvement coming Dallas's way. I don't see it.
maybe, just maybe, man, because I listened to Michael Irvin today, last night, also, man. Michael Irving is that was
I mean, he's
That's
devastated. It's like somebody, hey, he's probably so depressed he can't even come outside. I bet. Man, he was lobbying to get
man,
Prime there big time.
and
Big
listen,
time.
man, go. You know, what I admire so much, man. And we'll get back to Jerry. Prime, man, I admire him, man. And let me tell you why.
Why?
Prime is not an idiot, man. Prime is not chasing a bag. Prime is not chasing all the accolades of being an NFL head coach, man. Prime knows his limitations. Dude,
Exactly.
you gotta respect that, man. I'm not, people ever want to see the Cowboys win, and he think that Dion, the playmaker Sanders, the prime time guy, could turn him around. He's going to bring a lot of noise there, going to bring a lot of hype because it's a sexy job for him and all of that. But Dion know damn well every time he look, Jerry got me beating down his damn
That's
paw.
true.
That man ain't
Absolutely.
looking for that, man. He got a
Absolutely.
key to the city of Boulder, Colorado, man. Those folks went over and beyond to snatch this man from an HBCU where he was making around 400 and get his man a $6 million bag. And you think that Jerry gonna come over there and snatch you out of that position that you in, bring you over to Dallas and start breathing down your neck, man, and ain't gonna let you do exactly what you want to do? No, man. Dion got enough sense to realize, man, I'm content right here, man, because this man ain't gonna do nothing but get me over there, and I ain't gonna be able to do what I want to do, and we gonna have a crappy season, and then everything gonna go south, and Jerry gonna get fired. And guess what? He might not get that opportunity to go to another university where he got that bag and he got a position to be in for the rest of his life, man. You see,
Amen.
people don't realize what Dion brought to that community, man, in that state.
Oh,
And
he brought instant
and
credibility to the football program.
yes,
Instant
man.
credibility. Yes.
Just look at the division that they in, man. Dude, he just made such a great mark on that freaking team in the community. You got these people who've been going to the game, like that old lady who's almost 100 years old, who he got his arms around, telling her he
Miss
loves
Peggy.
her and stuff.
Miss
You
Peggy.
know, you can't hide stuff like that, man. You cannot put stuff like that in the back burner and forget about it. You tease these people, come in there and gonna leave because Jerry waved his magic wand around your nose and gave you this little smell of salt to say, here, come do this. And Michael Irvin, man, he should have known better than that. You know, he should have known better than that, man. You go over there, talk to this man in confidentiality and see where his head at instead of going out there and grabbing Jerry and say, get playmaker. He'll turn the team around. He'll do this, look what he did. And he showed his career where he started out at Jackson State, then he go down to Colorado. They got them beat the first season, and the next season they, win, had a great season. In my opinion, it was a great season from the year before. So he's showing you how he's developing these teams. And then when you look at how he developed his own kid, that shows you he's nothing but a winner. But he
Yeah.
also know his limitations. So that's the thing that people got to admire about him, man. And I respect him, and I'm glad that he made the right decision to stay out of harm's way, man, because that's what he was going to do. That man was going to damage his legacy, go with it and Cowboys, and they continue to lose, and then Jerry had to make a damn move on him because I don't even know. You know how they do brothers? They don't give you the type of time like they
That's
give
true.
other coaches, man. So if Dion ain't turning around in 2 seasons or 1 season, like they've been firing brothers, they ain't
That's
even
true.
giving them, 2 seasons. They giving them 1 season to turn around.
That's right.
So Dion, man, great job.
Well, they gave Prime a $29.5 million contract back in 2022 for 5 years. That is a phenomenal contract to me, for any coach. He'll get it renegotiated, of course, because they're definitely going to be talking about keeping him around. So
Yeah.
he'll get it renegotiated, because that's a bargain price for a coach like Prime, and I think Colorado understands that. So, with all of that said, we've had a wonderful show again
Yes, sir.
tonight, and
Yep.
I would like to say thank you, Mr. Isaiah,
Thank you, brother.
for all of your
Thank you,
input and all of your insight, other than the fact that you criticized me about my canned collard greens, but I ain't gonna worry about you because I'm gonna keep eating canned collard greens.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have you close it out tonight first.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to our podcast, man. It's beautiful. We love it. We love what we're doing, man. And you guys subscribe, tell your friends, your family, your relatives, your co-workers. Also, tell them all. Tell them all we're on. Tell them we're doing this thing, man. And our, subscribers will continue to grow. And I
Yes.
want to wish you guys a prosperous 2000, because I told you guys earlier in the year, when the year first started, that I'm going to drop 40. Guess what? I dropped 10. Okay. So I got 30 more than that. And guess what,
Congratulations.
man? And listen, it's not that difficult. What I'm doing now is eating less and moving more. That's what I'm doing. So you guys, if you want to come on board and say that I'm going to drop me 40 or drop 10 or drop any of it, do it. Because it's going to only make you feel better. It's going to make you feel healthy. It's going to make you bounce up in the morning and get, enthused about your day. Listen, continue to watch us. We're going to be on tomorrow. We got other things to cover. We got so many things happening in the NBA now. We got our boy Butler down here acting a rear end, and Pat Riley going to shovel him off soon if he keep it up. I think it's to the point of no return. So you guys keep watching us, because we're going to give you the update and the latest on that situation too. So listen, thanks so much. You guys have a pleasant night. I enjoyed this weekend, and we'll be covering all the Super Bowl stuff. So stay tuned. Have a good night.
Very well said, Isaiah. Thank you for joining the DC Stewart Show podcast featuring my co-host Isaiah, and we will see you again soon. Peace, love, and prosperity. Take care of each other. Take care of ones around you. And take care of your loved ones. Take it easy.